away Billy Crystal's hair, he looks like Kermit the Frog.
If you paint him green.
Well, obviously. John, come
that
on.
goes without saying.
It goes without saying,
Billy
John.
Crystal here.
It's a good Kermit.
If I close my eyes, it's like I'm there.
It's like Kermit and or Billy Crystal is sitting behind me.
Kermit the Frog here.
That is actually a really good Kermit the
Thank
Frog
you.
impression.
Have you been practicing that one?
I think when I was a kid, I used to
we-
practice Kermit the Frog.
I'm not surprised. by that. Oh my
That's
God.
not surprising.
The
So-
pieces are just falling together.
So
Hussein.
much. This makes way more sense than you being really into Demolition Man as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to watch a lot of Jim Henson in the studio.
I could just see you like practicing your Kermit the Frog impression in the mirror until someone like yelled, "It's like Husain, Demolition Man is on TBS," and you ran downstairs.
John, we need to start writing a movie about Hussein's life, and we're just gonna make shit up at this point.
Oh, jeez.
Demolition Man! It's on TV! Oh no!
I want to miss the opening scene.
So welcome to the
Yeah.
Swiftfilm Show. It's the Oscars edition.
Woo!
Everyone feeling the love for movies?
I am.
I am.
I'm affirmed about movies.
That's because we were pretty close on a lot of them. I don't remember what we said last time.
I don't remember anything we said on our prediction show. I've blotted that show out of my mind.
It's just like a fever dream. You just forget it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say we were 95% correct.
I want to say like we were 80. I think that's being a little too kind to us.
Well, I mean, we
I wanna
weren't
be kind.
right in a lot of them. Like we were like, it really should go to this movie, but it's probably going to go to Gravity, and then it did.
Yeah.
So,
So we pretty much were right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to score one for us, like
Yeah.
regardless of what we actually said.
Yeah.
We
Just-
did it, guys.
Yeah, just
We did
just
it.
disregard what we said on that podcast and just listen to us now when we say we were completely right.
All right, so what was the one thing that caught our attention of it being kind of a out of left field? Let's talk about that. Was The Great Gatsby winning things?
Well,
Like, what the hell?
yeah, all right. It was kind of a surprise that The Great Gatsby won anything because, honestly, not a very good movie. But what it won was production design, and the set work in that movie was incredible.
And costumes.
The set work and costumes, of course, it wasn't.
A Victorian period piece.
Yeah, so that doesn't bode well. But
Yeah.
it didn't shock me because the sort of look and feel of that movie was so, you know,
It was essentially
it was
the
fun
20s.
to look at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, so yeah, and that, if there was anything at all that was memorable about The Great Gatsby, it was the, you know, production and costume design.
I will say, though, that I am very upset that American Hustle didn't win costume design.
Yeah, I think that was the upset. The biggest upset, maybe.
Yeah.
Because before the movie came out, everyone was going crazy about American Hustle's
I
costumes.
wanted it to
Yeah.
win costume design so we could finally get that Bradley Cooper perm going, man.
No.
I want curls.
No.
Okay.
No perms.
I was looking forward to wearing my shirt open to like the third button and just displaying
chains.
copious amounts of chest hair.
Did
Not gonna happen. People will still think I'm an Armenian guy.
Argo win? Was Argo in the 70s? Did that take place in the
That was
70s?
It was the 70s.
Yeah, it was the 70s.
So Argo won. That
Yeah,
didn't
right.
do anything.
But Argo wasn't like, because the costume work really
Yeah,
was
that's true.
integral to the characters in that movie. You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
the costume work was just as big of a character as, like,
well,
the
that,
comb over.
well, yeah,
It
it's
was
like
the character.
the comb over, and you know, Amy Adams is like strappy, like tits hanging out dress. You know, like those really kind of portrayed who the characters were, and you know, it did as much as the actors sort of acting to establish who the characters were and the feel of the movie. So yeah, I do think that was a little bit of an upset, but it's funny, you know, we're talking mostly about upsets in categories no one gives a shit about. Like,
Documentary was also an upset.
yes,
Yeah,
actually, that
documentary.
was a huge.
Yeah, so the big thing was that documentary, we were expecting this to go to the big movie was The Act of Killing, which is
Yeah.
the one that you guys have been harping on me to watch about Indonesia.
Yeah, Indonesian genocide.
It was. It's not just about the Indonesian genocide.
Yeah,
it's about a lot of different things, and it's
Right.
It's kind of it's a very weighty movie and it's a movie about movies itself in many ways,
Yeah.
which you would think that the Academy would be all over.
But the other two movies that were also up for were The Square, which is about the
Tahrir Square
the
uprising.
Arab Spring in Cairo
From
Yeah.
Netflix.
from Netflix, and the second one was Dirty War,
Wars.
which
Right.
was a CNN documentary.
I think so, yeah.
Another big weighty documentary. So
Right.
the three big weighty
And
documentaries.
very much about contemporary issues, things that
Yeah.
are like, important right now, things that are happening in the world right now.
gets snubbed for a movie about backup singers, in,
Base-
like the
yeah.
doo-wop era.
Yeah, it's basically a documentary about doo-wop backup singers. I haven't seen it, so I can't. I'm not going to badmouth it. I'm sure it's a wonderful film, but
Very odd.
it felt a little strange that you would go for that. Of course, it's a Harvey Weinstein production.
Yeah, once they said, "Oh, this is a movie from the Harvey Weinstein," it was like, "Oh, okay,
Oh,
I see
all right,
why."
we understand.
Now it makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Politics, but yeah, it did seem a little bit strange. And then, of course, Blackfish not even nominated.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was a very, if there was an upset at the Oscars, it was probably that category.
All right, but moving on to the big stuff, the ones that people kind of
Actually, want to hear about.
yeah. So it was a three-way tie, or there's a three-way split with all the technical awards going to Gravity.
Yes.
All of the character awards going to
Or well, half of the character awards going to Dallas Buyers Club.
yeah, half the character awards going to Dallas Buyers Club.
Basically, the male acting awards went to Dallas Buyers Club.
And then the story and the female supporting actress award going to
12 years.
12 Years.
And best director, best.
Director went to Gravity.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And best picture also going
Yeah.
to 12 years.
Well, I count that as a story. But
Yeah.
So what did you guys think? What did you guys think about that three-way split? Because the Leto thing we saw coming.
Yeah, that was an instant lock.
All the technical awards we saw coming.
Yeah, it was really hard to say that anything else was even in the same league as Gravity this year when it came
Right.
to just the technical.
Like the only other one that was in the same, like not even in the same area, not even in the same league. Like they were at the ballpark, but they weren't on the field.
Yeah.
Was like The Desolation of Smaug, but there were some real technical issues with that, like the whole GoPro river scene,
Yeah.
which is like clearly you just strapped a GoPro to some guy's head and put him in a raft.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, just the level of... It's not just CG. It's the fact that they had people hanging from the ceiling. They were filming around them with cameras.
Yeah.
The
They
sound...
created a light box and stuck Sandra Bullock in it.
Right, like...
The whole movie.
Yeah. No, from a technical standpoint, that movie was a triumph. I mean, it pushed filmmaking forward in directions it's never gone before.
Right.
So, it's really hard, whereas everyone else, very technically competent films, but also not really pushing movie making forward in
they
the same way.
weren't leaps and bounds like Gravity
Right.
was. So what did you think about Matthew big win, Matthew McConaughey, Best Actor?
All right.
Yeah. Well, he had, I think, probably the best, acceptance speech of the night.
Yeah.
Besides the people from Frozen.
Yeah.
Who did theirs
As a rhyme.
as a song, basically.
Lupita Nyong'o wasn't bad, too.
No. Well, yeah, that was a bit of a... I wouldn't say a shock, necessarily. I was surprised. I was figuring, because 12 Years just looks so strong in a lot... In, the acting categories. We'd already seen one of the, acting awards go to it. It felt... it felt like it was Chiwetel's, category to lose. But that being said, McConaughey has had an amazing year, and what a way to cap it off. It's not just Dallas Buyers Club. Mud was amazing. He's just been doing really some of the best work of his career, right now, and so it's great to see him getting, the accolades for it.
Yeah. Even it also felt like it could have been Leo's year too, because he's like the sentimental favorite every time he's nominated.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, Leo was my pick for this category.
Yeah, same.
I thought it was, I wanted Leo to win it. I thought it was going to go to Chiwetel. I didn't really honestly think that McConaughey had a shot. He amazing in that film, obviously, but so overshadowed by Jared Leto that it was like,
Yeah.
it was. It didn't seem like it was his year, but yeah. I mean, I guess I understand why they didn't. They didn't give the award to Leo because it was like a comedic performance, basically, and the Academy at that level just does not reward comedies.
Physical comedy.
Yeah, it's like it's not comedies just don't win back Best Actor. It doesn't matter how funny you are.
He's gonna have to lose weight.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna have to lose weight or gain weight.
Yeah, one of those two, because that's
Are we calling it? Are we calling Fat Leo or Skinny Leo?
I think Fat Leo.
I'm thinking Fat Leo.
I
go with Fat Leo. He was supposed to play Teddy Roosevelt in a movie. I think it like fell through.
Like rhino hunting Teddy.
No, he's got to play like latter day like late 70s fat blob Marlon Brando. Like blob.
Like when they make the movie of the making of The Godfather,
right? Exactly.
Playing Marlon
He's
Brando.
Playing Marlon Brando.
Playing The Godfather.
Playing The Godfather. That is going to need to be the role, and he's going to have to put on like 150 pounds for that.
Thank God Hostess is back because he's going to need it. All right, so what categories are we missing now? It's been a long day. Sorry.
So it was a long award ceremony.
Best Director.
Best Director.
Best Director went to
Alfonso Cuarón
for Gravity. Obviously well deserved. Like we said, maybe not quite as complete a film as 12 Years a Slave, but just having the audacity to do something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that
and actually pull it off.
And actually pull it off. That's kind of a director's role. And also, we talked, I think earlier when we were talking about why we thought Sandra Bullock deserved the Oscar for Best Actress. She didn't get it. Kate Blanchett did. That one I'm not mad at all.
No.
That was the most stacked category.
Yeah, I've been pulling for that Kate Blanchett train.
You've been on Team Kate all year.
Yeah, Team Kate.
And but the fact that she was having to act in a void, basically hanging from the ceiling.
In a light box.
In a light box, with no other actors feeding her lines and nothing to react to.
Yeah, physical
really,
objects.
No physical objects, and her performance was still that good. That speaks to the strength of the director and their ability to, get a great performance out of Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. And Frozen, guys. Frozen, guys. I have to say.
Go ahead.
Talk about Frozen.
Frozen won Best Song, outdoing and upsetting U2 and Bono. Thank God for that.
Yeah, I'm happy for Frozen just because it stopped Bono. any enemy of Bono's is a friend of mine. But yeah, I don't know. For that category, I really kind of wanted the Moon Song from her to win. I think that's just such a lovely composition.
Yeah.
But obviously not a very theatrical song necessarily. So I understand that it didn't win. Yeah. And of course, Please Mr. Kennedy was not nominated.
Yeah.
It should have been.
It also feels like the best song, they in their minds they had almost, I don't know if legacy is the right word, but legacy. From all those nominees, I think it's fairly obvious that Let It Go is going to be the one that's going to stay in the public consciousness mind for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
And they wanted to, be on the right side of history, blah, blah, blah.
I could see that song being played as a bumper for future Oscars.
What, Let It Go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. This is the first time I've heard that song. Not impressed. I think the YouTube needs to keep it together. Because it's collectively lost its mind. over that song.
Well, when you see it in the movie, it works really well.
Okay.
Because the animation sequence for that song is actually pretty cool.
And see, that's the thing about best song, is
Yeah.
it's not just best song, it's best song contributing to the movie, which is why it's traditionally been won by big musical numbers, in films, rather than like scores necessarily.
Right.
And that was a huge character moment for
Right,
Elsa.
it fulfilled a very important beat in that movie and did it wonderfully. So, I mean, that it makes sense that it would win out of the field. Not my favorite song personally, but it makes sense that it got the win.
Okay. All right. So what else happened? I'm gonna screw up her name. She won Best Supporting Actress.
Lupita Nyong'o.
There you go. She won for I can't just all of that movie, their entire cast except for the director. I can't pronounce their names. I'm sorry. I want to. My mouth doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and it's only because he has the same name as a famous actor.
Yeah,
it's easy to remember.
He was in Bullet.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, so she won. This is another category that was really, really stacked. We were very anti Jennifer Lawrence on this.
Right.
And we were pleased that Jennifer Lawrence, she deserved to win for Silver Linings Playbook, but this was, American Hustle was not her movie.
Well, she was actually in actress. She wasn't in supporting actress.
Really?
Who?
Jennifer Lawrence was?
No, J-Law was supporting. Amy Adams was actress.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amy Adams deserved to be in that category,
Right,
absolutely,
okay.
because she carried that movie. But Jennifer Lawrence, I don't think deserved to be nominated for supporting.
concur.
actress.
No, yeah, I'm
we
with
said
you.
that last
I'm with
time.
you. Yeah, we're very much on that. Yeah, I mean, I can't fault Lupita Nyong'o for that win. I wasn't necessarily who I would have picked for that award, but obviously well deserved.
That was another category that could have been really, really close in the voting.
It felt like the actress categories this year were just so stacked.
And like the thing is too is that when Cate Blanchett won for
Blue Jasmine?
for Best Actress, she said in her acceptance speech, it's like, this proves that, the world is ready for women-led stories. And it's very true, because those, like you said, those two categories were very, very stacked with great performances across the board.
Right.
And the box office proves it too. Hunger Games, Frozen.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, clearly this is that whole idea of not putting women first as the leads in these movies is a mistake.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we're finally getting, I think, to the point where we're doing that. We can do a movie that is, kind of more of a woman's story, like Blue Jasmine.
Right.
It's not necessarily, the type of story that is aimed at men.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the sort of story that a man would relate to. But it's an amazing movie, and like it's good that Hollywood's finally getting away from that. Only having one sort of frame of reference for what the lead in a movie should be.
Even Gravity, too.
Yeah,
Sandra
even
Bullock.
Gravity.
Because, that could have easily been done with... Well, no, I don't think it... No, it couldn't have been done with a male actor.
I think it could have.
I don't know, man. That whole subplot with, like, her losing her daughter, that was a big kind of issue that the movie resolved.
Right, but you don't think that a man could have had that same issue?
I don't think it would have been as impactful.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I disagree, but
okay.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's definitely true that the Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress category is just as prestigious, if not more so, in many cases, as the Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor.
All right, so 12 Years a Slave, Best Picture. What did you guys think?
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah,
that movie we all came out of being so drained from it, and for a movie to do that, it needs to be at a different caliber.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite movie of the year, but it was. I appreciated it more than any other. I think.
I don't think it can be your favorite movie.
Yeah,
like
that's
that movie
true.
is so just taxing. It's like. Don't get me wrong, I'm with you. It was one of the best movies I've seen in a very long time. But to say that I liked it Or
yeah, it feels weird
like,
to say, I love that.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, I enjoyed that movie. It just sounds wrong. I appreciate that movie the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I think definitely deserved. Not my favorite movie, mainly because I don't know, I'm not big on things that are that theatrical. But
right, you've had issue with like the way it was portrayed on screen for a long time.
Right,
Yeah, the acting style.
I just prefer a more naturalistic style of acting. That being said, there are scenes in that movie that are like up there with sort of the indelible scenes that you could see in a highlight reel in 50 years at the Academy Awards 50 years from now, where they show highlights of Best Picture winning Best Picture winning films. And you would see that, and it would be completely at home with things from Lawrence of Arabia and other stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, it was that level of at certain points. So in that respect, wholly deserved. Obviously, we were all we figured it was going to win, but we all kind of had our druthers in other directions. I think of the movie I've seen this year, probably Nebraska was the one I enjoyed the most.
Because it's likable. I mean, again, I don't want to sound like I'm dogging on 12 Years a Slave, because, again, I appreciate this movie the most because it had the most to say.
I don't know. I don't think that's true. I think Nebraska had just as much to say. It was just saying it about something that was much more personal, rather than something that's much more wider in scope, like race relations in America.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like that's not I knew Nebraska was never going to win this, because it's not the sort of film that the Academy celebrates. It is too personal. They are going to go for the thing that seems to be capturing big ideas. The epic over the story that is like really small and focused on family and family relations and things like that.
But nonetheless, very well deserved. I think we're all happy to see 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah.
It's great.
I think it's the most deserving Oscar winner in a while.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
And that's the thing too. I remember like we were talking about, it's like, the movie that won last year, Argo came up.
Good movie, but I don't think it's the.
And I can't remember a year when everyone I've talked to has said, "Oh no, it's going to be 12 years, or it's going to be this movie. It's going to be this movie. It's going to be." Everyone across the board I've talked to over the last week has said, "It's like, no, it's going to be 12 Years a Slave."
Yeah. And it was right. I mean, it was hard to give it to anyone else this year.
Yeah.
And also, there were some really good movies. We didn't see Philomena. You love Philomena.
I really liked it.
But, a lot of the other movies in that category were good movies, but very deeply flawed movies at the same time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too much of a shock to see the one that was probably the least flawed of any of them, take it.
All right, so what else?
Also, the birth of probably the best Oscar joke in a while. From Ellen's opening monologue.
Oh,
there are two possibilities.
Yeah, right.
12 years or
you're all racist. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Ellen hosting it, because last year when we did this, we talked a bit about Seth MacFarlane hosting, and how that was obviously a very polarizing year.
Yeah.
It really felt like they were like, let's get back to something that's kind of safe. Everybody loves Ellen,
She's the new queen of daytime talk shows.
Yeah.
She's the new Oprah.
She is the new Oprah. Well, she's been the new Oprah for a long time. It's just now that Oprah's finally retired, we're realizing that. But, she's very, very well liked in sort of the core Oscar watching demographic of 30 to 40-year-old white people. But also well liked among younger audience as well. Everyone.
She's fun.
Yeah, she's fun.
She has I was really surprised at her comedic timing, because you forget, there's Ellen was a stand-up comedian for a long time, and she has that kind of just dry tact to work an audience.
Yeah, no, she really understands how to work an audience, which you're just not going to get unless you're a stand-up comedian or someone who's lived in that world before.
Yeah, and I thought that was really refreshing, because I felt that's what kind of was lacking last year with Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane is a funny guy, but he's not the sort of guy that's used to being funny in front of an audience live like that.
Yeah, he's used to being funny inside a writer's room. after a bunch of rewrites and writing things down.
It's different. It's a different, it's a different type of comedy, and you need to know how to connect with your audience. And he really didn't connect with his audience, which is why it's not that like Ellen was any nicer, because she got some pretty good digs in tonight.
Liza Minnelli.
From out of left field, like a really mean-spirited joke at Liza Minnelli. I'm like,
It was so funny.
yeah, it was funny, but I was just like, why are you picking on Liza Minnelli?
Like, damn, you're a jerk.
Yeah, but if Seth MacFarlane had made that same joke, because he didn't have that empathy with the audience, no one would be with him on that.
Or making fun of Jennifer Lawrence for falling. It's like, oh, don't worry, I won't bring up you tripping coming out of the limbo.
Yeah,
I won't bring it up. It's a good thing that cop was there, though.
Yeah.
Can we go to the clip?
Yeah. If you don't have that sort of empathy and that connection with your audience, you come off as a bully.
Yeah.
But, Ellen is very good at engendering that. And she was a really, really good host, really refreshing. I thought that part of it was probably one of the best parts about the whole ceremony. Was the choice.
The pizza gag, too.
The pizza gag was great.
Awesome.
So real quick, real pizza guy.
Real actual pizza
real
guy.
Pizza guy, real pizzas. I want to know how much that guy got paid for that night.
There is a pizza place. There's like 3 pizza places across the street from the Kodak Theater, what was formerly known as the Kodak Theater.
Well, how did
So
that
it's
guy
probably
get in
around
there? Like, that's the funny part. It's like, she actually call they showed up and not realizing, like, oh shit,
No, like,
it's the Oscars tonight.
I guess because I looked at that story online, and it's real pizza guy, real pizzas, and I'm assuming it was from a place across the street.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at the photos and look up the pizzeria that they called, but
Yeah.
real pizza guy.
And the boxes not blurred out, so you could see the brand of pizza that they were eating.
I'm going to go look it up later.
You know what? Samsung paid hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right? And the
for
pizza
that,
guy.
For that level
The
of...
Oscars presented by Samsung.
Yeah, they spent
And this pizza guy.
hundreds of millions of dollars for that level of product placement. That pizza guy, just
Instant
made
celebrity.
his boss rich, basically.
And-
probably the best free product placement you could possibly get.
And probably made himself rich because let's not forget, Pharrell's hat's pretty big.
Yeah, and she was passing that hat around.
And people were throwing in 20s left and right.
Harvey Weinstein threw in $200 just off the bat. He's like, is that enough?
I've never bought pizza before.
I don't know.
Is this how this works?
What's tipping?
Yeah.
My meals are just brought to me on gold pallets.
Brad Pitt was kind of stingy, I gotta say.
He was, yeah. He put in some extra money grudgingly.
Yeah, after a couple...
After Ellen shamed him.
Hey man, that guy's got like 1,000 kids to help take care of.
That's
Okay,
true.
He's
That's
got a
true.
lot of mouths to feed.
He's a working dad. Two-parent working household there.
his wife just went through like a lot like preemptive cancer surgery, and he's got like 12 kids.
Yeah.
All right, he's got a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah.
And he won a Best Picture Oscar.
Right. Yeah. And he had to fund a Best Picture. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Overall, just great hosting experience. I was a little worried because honestly, it felt like they were like. I thought Seth MacFarlane was a bold choice. I don't necessarily think he worked necessarily that well as a host, but choosing Ellen felt like they were going back to the safe choice.
But even then, it wasn't that safe of a choice.
There's never a choice that's 100% safe. But Ellen
Unless it's Billy Crystal.
They've gone back to Billy Crystal.
That's what I felt like. I felt like they were always like, oh shit, are they going back to Billy Crystal because they're, going back to like the person that's beloved by waspy mothers. But it turns, that was really unfair to Ellen because she's just really, really good.
And she pushed that envelope pretty hard too.
Yeah. But in a way that it worked rather than it showing up in Variety. Ellen embarrasses herself the next day.
Like James Franco.
Yeah, like James Franco and Anne Hathaway and pretty much everyone else they've had host the Oscars in like the past 5 years.
So have we found our new Oscar host?
I think so.
I hope so. I would not be mad if she hosted again next year. I think it would be in very good hands.
I agree.
Things that didn't work.
Too many songs.
Too many
Wizard
songs.
of Oz thing and Wind Beneath My Wings.
Can we talk about Wind Beneath My Wings for a minute? Because
Ham-fisted.
I just ham-fisted and just frankly, ironically lame. Like, you have to understand, this is the song that people use to make fun of the situation that we just saw.
Well, all right. So what happened was they played their annual tribute to the fallen homies. They poured one out. You know, the tribute to every actor and person involved in Hollywood that died, except for the second camera woman who died. Got run over by a train because they were filming without a permit.
They did her at the end. It was like a little tag at the bottom.
I guess they couldn't fit it in.
Fit it in. Or
it was
too late or something.
Anyway, so at least they tried. But that's always supposed to be sort of a moving, tribute to the fallen brethren. And then they completely fucked it up by following it up with Wind Beneath My Wings, which you'd never play at a funeral unless it's a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one play that at my funeral, please.
Yeah. Well, it's like that is like it's a song that has lost all possible gravitas. And then to shoehorn it into the Oscars for no reason, because they didn't need another. It's not like they needed to fill space, and like
No,
they absolutely needed another
They did not need to fill
They weren't,
space.
45 minutes over?
Right. It's not like they needed to fill space and they desperately needed another musical number. It was someone said, you know what's a good idea? Let's have someone sing Wind Beneath My Wings with that segment.
Harold Ramis was probably rolling in his grave because that's a joke he probably would have wrote.
Yeah.
Just going like, it'd be really funny. Wind beneath my wings, derp 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 derp.
Yeah.
And the Wizard of Oz thing too felt.
Well, I mean, I love that rendition of Wizard of Oz. It was good. But yeah, why are we doing a tribute to Wizard of Oz?
75th anniversary, but still you don't need a 4-minute.
Yeah, it doesn't need like 6 minutes at the Oscars and like an introduction by Whoopi Goldberg. Just
They also could,
also out of left field.
Yeah, they could cut some space. I'm just going to take a knife to this. They should cut some space. When they introduce songs, they don't need Ellen to introduce someone to introduce something.
Yeah, it's true.
Ellen introduce something.
That is a superfluous introduction.
Don't say I'm going to do it. Don't say you're going to do it and just do it. That's
right,
what we've decided.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I've already decided that like if I was running the Oscars, this thing would be done in like 12 minutes.
Just show all the
Well, here's what I would do. Everyone shows up. No one sits down. It's not going to last that long. They just mill around the stage, right?
John's going to have a loudspeaker. Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Brad Pitt, you're up.
I would just sit there with the loudspeaker. I'd have an overhead projector, right? You have to allow for a little bit of suspense, so I'd have a drum roll. Then I'd flip a switch, and we'd project all of the winners at once. And they would go up on stage. Everyone else would leave. Because, they're not winners, so they need to get the fuck out.
They get lotto scratch cards.
They'd all get lotto scratch cards along with their...
I want to know if he won anything.
Yeah. And, so they would just give their speeches one after another to no one because everyone else would have to leave. And then they'd all go home.
12 minutes.
12 minutes.
15 with parking. Done.
So how long are the speeches? That must be like 30
seconds. And, I'm not going to play anyone off. I'm just going to push
turn
them
off the lights.
I'll be over there in the corner flickering the lights if they're going over.
John cuts the microphone, comes on stage.
Well, we need to bring...
You could have like a trap door, too.
Well, we need to bring back that vaudevillian cane that would just come over and grab him and pull him off stage. Let's get back to Hollywood's roots with the cane.
Comes over with a squirt bottle.
Yeah, just an old vaudeville gag, and that's how we get him off the stage. Yeah. So, Oscar committee, I am available to host next year. If this Ellen thing doesn't work out for you, you decide, it's too controversial. She's really mean to Liza Minnelli. That was bad. I will be so nice to Liza Minnelli. You have my number.
Oh.
Okay, we miss anything on the...
That hero montage could have been cut too.
Oh yeah, that was so.
I kind of liked it, but it was weird. It seemed so non sequitur.
Well, all of the packages really felt like non sequiturs this year. Like I didn't understand why we were doing a hero montage. It'd be one thing if it was like superheroes, but it was just sort of a general heroes in movies and
Footloose.
yeah, Footloose was in there. Like
No man,
And no RoboCop.
yeah, like I love Kevin Bacon and Footloose, but I would not call him my hero.
Whoa. He stood up to that town that wouldn't let you dance.
Yeah,
Matthew McConaughey has a hero, and it's himself in 10 years.
right. That felt a little
Egotistical.
but whatever. He thanked God,
All
so
right,
that's
all right. That's a really good catchphrase.
yeah. He has the best catchphrase in Hollywood, I think.
And when he dropped it, all of us just erupted and laughed.
Yeah, right. McConaughey.
All right, so that is that the Swiftfilm Show? That I feel like that's the Swiftfilm Show.
Last tidbit.
Okay.
The J-Lo rule still applies.
It does. It does.
What if you star in a movie with Jennifer Lopez, you get an Oscar?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
Ralph Fiennes, he has an Oscar, right?
he does.
He does. There you go. Ben Affleck has an Oscar.
Not a best actor. Best director.
Best director.
Yeah. Yeah. So J-Lo, still Hollywood's kingmaker.
All right, so that's the Swiftfilm Show. Thanks for listening. Remember, you can follow us on the Twitter at Swiftfilm, Facebook.com. Well, the Twitter once it's back up since
Yeah,
Ellen crashed
after-
it.
She
Ellen
destroyed.
broke
I need
it.
to go
Yeah.
retweet that picture just to.
It already
Yeah.
won. It doesn't need your help
I
anymore.
want to help it anyway.
You're gonna come in after the fact and like jump on that joke like, hey guys.
Look at this selfie. I'm Husain.
I would do that.
You're the guy that like repeats the joke at like 5 minutes after everyone else has stopped laughing about it,
I
right?
still repeat Anchorman 1 joke.
Oh, God, you're the worst.
Oh, you do, don't
Yeah.
you?
All right.
I do.
And on Facebook, .com/Swiftfilm, Swiftfilm.com for the words. What other things are? SoundCloud, which you're listening to now, hopefully. iTunes, podcast library, which you're listening
Possibly listening to now.
to. Or YouTube, which you're possibly listening to now.
Pick one. Don't listen to all three at once.
Or do, whatever.
No, it gets really scary if you do that.
All right, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.